everyone, and welcome back to Josei Junkies, an anime podcast for all things anime, manga, webtoons, donghua, and more. My name is Aiso.
And I'm Kane.
So, fall 2022 anime is coming up. Did you have any on your to-watch list? I know there was like a lot of shoujo joseis coming out, surprisingly, because that hasn't happened for a while.
I'm so hyped. You have no idea. But like obviously, actually I didn't, the one that surprised me, because I guess I wasn't paying attention, is how quick Spy X Family was coming back. I feel like the season just barely ended, and then now we have like another season, I think starting like October. It's pretty fast, no?
Yeah, I guess they must have been producing it already with expectations to do the second season then, because I don't think they could just pull that out that fast if they weren't. Maybe it was like already made and then they just were like, we're just going to split when we air it for popularity reasons.
That's what I think too, but I feel like even most like second season, they still wait like a year before they release it.
I just think it depends on the anime and how the schedule goes, and I actually never really know what's going on with those. Reminds me of like, okay, at least it's not like Chinese release dates, because I feel like every time I try to track those dramas or anything they're releasing, they say they're gonna release it one time and then it gets delayed for years, or if it's really popular it gets like released or it gets released like immediately, and then they're like, oh, we're gonna release an episode every week, and then it starts airing and then they release like episodes every single day or something. It's like ridiculous. Like there's really no way to just like tell when things are being released. It's just kind of like you hope for the best and you're like, oh, I think I just find out when it all comes out. I'm like, oh, that came out? Okay, great, now I'll watch it, because I can never tell.
That's crazy. I had no idea that they took that long. Is it mainly just for Chinese dramas?
I think just Chinese entertainment in general. It's not always that it takes long. Sometimes it's really short. It just depends on what's popular, because they want to get on what's hot, So I think they're really sensitive to that. So they'll like stop putting out other stuff if something happens, especially with like the actors or something. If there's some like drama, like real life drama, and then put something else out. Or if someone's really, really popular, they'll put their stuff out as soon as they can, if they can. I'm not really sure. It's a really, really interesting industry, honestly. Like I just started getting into it and looking into it. And the fact that they're like an economy of their own, where like, I feel like most countries, they try to get into like the American market usually. Like that's the goal, right? Globalization. It's like if you make it in America, you've quote unquote made it. But China's already isolated and their population is pretty much like equivalent to the rest of the world, that they don't have to follow like global trends and all that. Like they literally have their own industry that isn't really affected by changes outside of it. So they can do whatever they want.
I see. I mean, that flexibility makes it so, they're always on top of trends.
Yeah, well, trends in China at least. So
that's so interesting.
Yeah. I mean, I'm excited to see how it grows and just how things end up with it, because with how like anime is changing too, like there have been like a lot of like Chinese, I guess, animes you would call them, donghas, like come out that, I mean, some are not so great, and their like voice acting industry is really, really weak, which is ironic because they literally dub all their stuff, like
all of their dramas.
Yes.
I had no idea that was a thing. I just thought everyone just had beautiful voices in China.
Dude,
now it makes sense.
It makes so much more sense, where it's like, why does everything sound so flat or like perfect kind of like all the time? Like, because like literally they don't, I mean, sometimes they do, but most of the time they don't even use the real actor's voice. They literally have someone else dub it as if they were an anime, but it's a real person. And I was like looking into why they did it. Apparently it's because, or the thoughts of some people is like, one, because of all like the ambient noise that goes on in China. They're trying to like it's hard to film like with that going on, with all the noise pollution. And also because there's so many different dialects in China. So I think the dubber is speaking like the main dialect, like the official one, and speaking it very clearly. So that's what they want on the dramas, since the actors and actresses may speak different dialects and it may not be clear for like everyone watching.
To make it like everything consistent and
Yeah.
cohesive.
Yeah.
Oh, that makes a lot more sense though. And then that makes, and it's so funny because now it's a whole other like genre where I'm like, oh, I really like this one voice actor. I'm gonna watch all the other type of series because there's like, like I don't know if you know, but the voice of like one character, like from Princess Wei Young, like a really strong character, will voice very similar characters. And so then I know for sure that that person who voiced that character might like voice other characters I also would like. And so watch certain series
Oh, they like typecast
for
them?
it.
That's good. Well, because like, I mean, I haven't checked in a little bit now, but last I checked, they only had like a handful of voice actors in China for like everything.
Hmm.
So everyone sounds exactly the same. And that was kind of like a pitfall for me. So I really hope they improve on that and can expand their industry so they get some better
Hmm.
dubbing done. And there's like more to look at. And you can find like new voice actors and see what they're in. And hopefully it's better, especially because like their animation too. It's like some are not so great. But then some are pretty good. Like, I don't know if you saw Link Click, I think it was.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That one was actually pretty good. Like I was
Yeah, yeah.
pleasantly surprised when I watched that. I came in with like lower expectations, but came out with like that was pretty good. I would want to see the next season of that.
Yeah. And the plot line, everything's really interesting. You guys should watch it if you haven't seen it.
Yeah.
I think the voice acting of Heaven's Official Blessing was really good. I think like
For
yeah,
the
that
anime?
would sound really beautiful. Yeah, the anime.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh,
For
the Chinese anime. The Chinese cast, not the Japanese cast.
yeah. Actually, like Heaven's Official Blessing is really interesting because they're they have the okay, for simplicity's sake right now, I'm probably gonna just use the Japanese words, but it's for the Chinese. I just don't want to make the mistake and get people confused. But the manga for Heaven's Official Blessing is like super pretty like aesthetic art. Whereas like
The prettiest.
yeah,
Yeah.
like the prettiest, like ethereal, like this is truly gods and goddesses, my friends. And then you go to like their anime and it's like super cutesy and like happy vibes and it's so weird because both fit it so well and I don't know how to
Yeah.
explain it, especially if you haven't like read the novel, which I highly recommend out of all of them. The novel is very long but very worth it.
Ooh, I have to. I feel like I've been pushing it off. And again, I think it went back to something we said earlier, where like I read parts of it online, but then when the books came out, I was like, okay, well, I want to be committed and like, support the books and the localization of it. But like it just didn't hit the same. So after like a few pages, I just put it down because it wasn't really hitting the same way as like the online translations has.
Wait, did you finish the book?
No, 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 I still have the book, but I
Oh.
started reading it online, and
Hmm.
then when the books came out, that's when I stopped reading, and then I started on the books.
Okay, wait, that's what I'm saying. Like, overall, have you finished it, or
Mm-mm,
how
not yet.
far are you?
I am not that far.
Do you know
I
which
just,
book you're
I
on?
just want. It's still the first one.
Oh my god! Like, out of the 5 books, you're on the first one?
Yeah.
Oh my god! Oh my god.
So it hasn't gone good. I have to commit that much.
You have to get to book 4. Like, oh my god.
No, I don't even like reading though. Like,
No,
like
you will
reading, I
like this. It gets so cute too, and book 4, man. Book 4. I know you will like
okay.
book 4. I guarantee it.
How do you know?
Because we have the same taste when it comes to book 4.
Okay, what does that? Okay, tell me what that taste is then.
That taste is pain and suffering.
Oh, you're so right. Why do we like suffering, pain, and hurt? What was the reason?
Maybe because it makes us feel something and we're just so dead inside.
Make us feel a little bit alive.
Like, yeah.
Okay. Anyways, B-sides for Spy X Family. I know I'm super excited for Chainsaw Man because it's done by Mappa Studio. Anything else that you were really particularly interested in?
I really want to see Chainsaw Man. I haven't read it. A lot of my friends
Mhm.
have read it and they told me to, and I'm like still debating if I should because I usually don't read shonens. I usually read like shoujo, josei because I find that shonens and seinens and stuff like that with like more action are really hard for me to follow, and I miss things. And then like a lot of times if I do read it, then I watch like the anime and I'll be like, wait, that's what happened, and I had like a misunderstanding of the whole like story like forever, and then I just hate myself. I'm like, God, I'm dumb. So
Oh my gosh, same. It's the same with Attack on Titan. When I was reading it, it was so confusing and there was so much text. But like I kept having to go back because sometimes the text isn't like very like if you miss one part, then you gotta like really go back, and it's just not as easy to follow. And you're so right. It's
yes,
easier in anime with the way they explain it
even for
and the
Shingeki no
action
Kyojin,
scenes.
it was like so hard to understand even just watching it. Like I guarantee that. I remember I tried to read the manga once in like Japanese, and I saw like the kanji just for the names of like all the cores and stuff, and I was like, I can't do this. This is too much to look up. I was like, I'm gonna learn using this, and I was like, JK, this is for advanced readers.
It's so true. But Chainsaw Man isn't too bad. I think it's easy to read, but it does kind of follow the formula, the shonen formula, just a bit of a twist. It kind of reminds me a combination of like Tokyo Ghoul and I'm trying to think what other series, like kind of Jujutsu Kaisen style.
I mean, I like things that have a twist because you need something new. Like, you get tired of the
Mm-hmm.
same formula. Like, it works, but it gets so boring. Like, that's been my issue with most of the anime and mangas coming out lately, and why I have trouble finding anything I really want to read or watch. Like
Mm-hmm.
I mentioned before, I know you really like the villainess trope, but for me, I got so tired of it and like trying to sort
Mm-hmm.
through things that were good, because while it's good that now we have so much more like variety and options because there's so much more like saturation in the market, more people producing works, it also means there's more to sort through. And a lot of that you have
That's
to
so
sort through
true.
is like the not so great stuff.
Now it's become very saturated for sure. And I'm like scrolling for hours, always looking for something new or interesting, but I feel like I'm pretty caught up on all of the ones that I'm like, ooh, these are really good.
Yeah, and it really sucks when they're ongoing too, because then I forget about them, and then like you ask me if I've read it, and I'm like, I literally have to go back and just read and see if I like, does this sound familiar, to tell you like, did I read this? Yeah, I read this.
I
It's
remember them by art style because I'm very picky. And then what the main boy looks like, what the male lead looks like. I'm like, okay, is it the one with the black eyes or is it the one
no,
with the
so many of
blue?
them have started to look the same now though, so I can't even do that. Like I literally have to go off like what's going on in the story. Otherwise, I'm just like, and even then, sometimes I have to read like a good number of chapters before I'm like, wait, this is really familiar. Oh, wait, I read all this already. And I'm like, I wasted all this time. I could have been reading something better.
I feel it. Yeah, other than that, those two, I'm pretty excited for some of the Josei one, especially for fall 2022. Um, what is it? The Bibliophile
Bibliophile Princess?
Princess? Yeah, the Mushikaburi Hime. That one, because the art is so pretty. Like the manga art was kind of pretty, but I think like something about the way that it's translated in like anime and the colors is actually a lot better than I expected. I hope the flow is good, like story wise, but then also like the movement. 'Cause you know how like sometime for shoujo, they're super like delayed. It's like 2 frame movement.
I think it's because they're focusing on the zoom in on their emotion, instead of shonen where you have a lot of action going on.
No, I think it's low budget. Let's just say it for what it
Don't
is.
say this!
Let's say it for what it is because like some scenes are super pretty and I'm like those are probably the scenes that are going to use for the opening, and then some scene is just like I don't know if you've gone back and rewatched some of like the older Josei, but sometimes they don't even have eyes and it's just so hilarious.
What are the older
The budget's
Joseis? I'm
so
only
slow.
thinking of shoujo off the top of my head, but what were older Joseis?
I have to freaking look them up, but I will send it to you. It's pretty hilarious.
Okay, because I'm just like, as soon as you said that, the only thing I could think of was original fruit baskets, and I'm just like, oh
Uh-huh.
god, how did I watch this? Like, Toru just looks so derpy, and like, my god, I don't feel so bad about my art. I mean, my art is still really, really shit. I actually wouldn't even compare it to that, but like, just remember that was what we thought was amazing back in the day, and I had no issue watching.
I mean, it could still be good. I think it's classic. It like, the blueprint.
I mean, now we have Fruit Basket's remake, and it's amazing, so it's okay. I'm okay with that.
Fruits Basket remake was actually really good. And
Yes.
I have to go back and rewatch or reread the original because some of the themes seems very modern. So I think they definitely changed it up to make it so it's like more in modern times.
I mean, they have to change like the cell phones and stuff. That's been
Hmm.
wild, and but I think they did it really well, and I'm really happy because I was really scared since that's one of my favorite mangas of like all time, just
Hmm.
from back then till now. So I I really didn't want them to mess it up because that would hurt me, like truly.
Oh my God. And then like I'm so glad so many different types of people are also watching Fruit Basket. Like it's surprising to me because I just thought Fruit Basket it was just something like a lot of like um girls watch or like, just random people who would just watch all anime. But a lot of people actually it became like more mainstream and a lot of people just really enjoyed watching it and got into the fandom.
I'm really happy if they did because it's so much more than just a shojo. It's like a truly
Yeah.
the story is so relatable and there's so many deeper
Uh-huh.
themes and just things about like growing up and like abusive lifestyles and like
Yeah.
staying stuck in relationships in some of them just because like you feel obligated or like just because you're family just because of there's just so many things that are so great and you can connect with that make it such a great anime and such a great story, and I really wish more people watched it and didn't just treat it as like, wow, that shoujo anime about the cat, like the animal people and the girl.
Hmm. I think the complexity and then the aspect of healing too. Like I think there's so many different characters and so many different stories that I think one of them you relate to, and kind of seeing
Yes,
them like heal and like move forward is like very,
I think that's one of the things.
inspiring.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things I miss so much about, I guess, older anime, where nowadays, right, we get really short animes. Maybe the mangas have longer stories, but even then, I feel like there's such a lack of character development, and that was one of the things I love about anime storytelling and manga storytelling is like the build up and the connection you gain with these characters is what makes
Hmm.
things so relatable when things do happen. So it seems boring at first, right? Like,
Hmm.
oh, they're just going about their day or little stories here and there that don't matter much. But then when like the big comes to, it makes it hit so much harder because like you have this relationship with this character and this understanding like of their backstory and like why they did what they did. And it's so great. And we don't get that now and it makes me sad. But and especially with the shorter animes too, you only get focus usually like on the main characters, which is a
Hmm.
handful of if even that many. Whereas like with Fruits Basket, you have like the whole zodiac that's like 12 people plus all the other characters surrounding them, and you really get a good backstory for all of these characters, and it makes the story building so great and so relatable, and I just love it. It's amazing.
I think there's been a shift maybe from like character development and character growth and character backstory and moving towards just plot, right? Plot, action, like like world building, and it's hard for me to find a series that also does all of them.
Do you
So I know
think
what you
so?
mean.
Because
Yeah,
I
I think there has been a shift for sure. Before it was very focused on like, character and like really taking our time, right? But like we know how it is. The older anime like they're all really like slow. Like the pacing is really
Mhm.
slow. But because it's so slow, like we really got to take our time like with all the character, the story. But now everything's just like maybe the attention span is just like we got to hit. And so there's no time to kind of build out the world, build out the plot, and do the characters. So
I
it's
think
just,
that's true. I think it's very true with the short attention span that we've gotten in more recent ages, like especially with
hmm.
TikTok and everything, which I may argue is not great. I now have the attention span of a goldfish and I hate it. I wish I could just pay attention to things longer and really take my time. And I know a lot of people will be like, "Oh, I'm busy with my life. I have so many things to do," and that could be a part of it too, but
Hmm.
I wish we could just slow down and like experience things again. Like I almost hate how easy it is to binge things now. Like, I miss when there were things to binge, but you also had things that came out like every week, because that allowed you to slowly experience things and really take them in and really remember them. And on top of that, if you had the luxury of having anyone to talk to about it, you could talk about it. Like, oh, did you watch this week's episode? And you literally have like a whole week to just ruminate, theorize, talk about, like, guess what was going to happen next, and just like really experience and feel what was going on.
I think so too. But now it's just like got it everything quick. And what I've noticed also, it's like foregoing the character development, character plot line, and like all of that, their backstory. Now it's just kind of like, what is something unique we could give that this character that will stand out? You know, it'd be like boob window, you know, something random and weird and absurd, but at least it's memorable. And
Can
then
you
that's kind
think
of all
of
they need.
any examples of that off the top of your head for like,
I think a lot of the shonen, like harem-ish
mm,
animes are a lot like that,
mm.
right? Where it's just like, oh, this week, this waifu for this season will be this character.
Ah, okay,
You know what I
okay.
mean? Rather than it's just like, oh, you know how deep? It's just like, oh, what is flashy? What is going to catch attention? What is going to make people remember this season?
I think ironically, it's like what will make them remember, but only for that season, and then you forget who they are for like the rest of your
Mm-hmm.
life. I mean,
Right? Because like I love Danmachi, like the how
yeah,
to pick up girls in the dungeon, but like obviously freaking Hestia, I love her and I love it's actually one of the better ones that I like.
yeah, yeah.
But even then, you know, her gimmick for the whole series is like she's
I
a sexy loli or you know,
I think it like got old is what happened. It's like it was really, I don't want to say good at first, but it was very entertaining at first and memorable.
mm-hmm.
And then like I know for me, like I stopped watching after second or third season because there was
Same.
really nothing going on in this show. And like
Yeah.
her what's the word? Trope got kind of like flat. It was like, okay,
Yeah.
and
A poor goddess, you
yeah,
know?
like, and what
And I
else about
love
you?
her. I love her. I love Belle. They're all like voice actors I freaking love. But then like rewatching it, I was like, I can't really describe so much of her personality, you know? And like her backstory wasn't like so impressive and like, you know,
Man, that's so
life-changing that it's
sad.
memorable. But I love it. Like that's something that I love. But so it's weird, you know?
You know, if you think about it, it's like friendships in real life where you realize some people, it's like you know them and they have like this thing you know them for. And it's kind of like because of that, it's like, oh yeah, they're that person who does that thing. But in the end, you also realize like that's all you know about them. You don't really know them. And it's so sad. And you're
Mm.
like, are we really even friends? Because do I know you? Well, what kind of connection? But I want to know you better. Like I wish you would tell me, or I wish you would show your quote unquote backstory, you know? Like,
Yeah. It's like meeting a new person almost, you know?
yeah.
You're just getting a glimpse of their life and what they're telling you, but you don't really get to see like the whole picture.
Yeah, and then
It's
it's
like a long
sad.
time friend. So is that how we're comparing the anime characters?
Yeah.
A long time
They
friend
are
versus like an
longtime friends.
acquaintance.
Dude, these characters got me through some tough times, all right?
Yeah, it's true. And I refer back. I think there's a lot of growth that I've learned just watching and observing the character, but also internalizing a lot of the struggles that they've had.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. That's one of the reasons I love anime so much, whereas other mediums I feel don't do it as well. Because
Mm.
I think it's very close to, I don't want to say live action, but like how real people can be, even though it's in an anime format. And like the stories are very well thought out, but they present them in a medium that's like easy to digest.
And entertaining.
Yes, yes, yes. Very entertaining. Or can be very entertaining. That's where the hit or miss comes, where some people do it well and some don't do it so great.
That's true. That's why we gotta like really look and then we give each other recommendations, right?
For real, I always want recommendations. But then it's also, I realized, so hard to get recommendations too. Because I used to go on like Mal and like other sites and try to see like what are the top animes and stuff and try to go through them. But I realized that's not a great way to go about it either, because especially with how much more access we have to other people, because
Mm.
that's a very generalized idea, and that's like who's voting on these things. Like, to be honest, I don't think I've ever actually submitted like a review on an anime site or like rated an anime. So if I'm taking that into account, like how many other people like me probably did the same for those animes.
Oh, I see.
So I find
So
that you need to find people who like have, and this is true kind of for anything. When I thought about, like, you have to find people with similar tastes and then ask for their recommendations, because if you ask someone who doesn't have the same taste as you, you're probably not going to get something you like. But on the other side of that, you may find something you normally may not have been interested in too if you get it from other people. So it goes both ways.
yeah. And I realize how the anime is introduced to you is also really kind of important to kind of shape your mindset of it. If someone's just like, this is the best anime you'll ever see in your whole life, I'm like, yeah. And then I'll just like in my mind immediately, I'm like listing all of my favorite series. I'm like, it's not comparable to this. How dare you? You know? But if usually when I'm like, I really like this one. I think it's interesting. I think you'll like it. And if I know that person like introduced it to me because it's catered towards something I like, then I'll
Yeah.
trust it more rather than
Yeah.
this is just generic or this is just something that they like. So I think anime recommendations has to be. I'm very picky about it too.
Yeah, like when people ask me for recommendations, I hate just giving my straight up favorites because I know it may not be their favorites. Like I always want to ask them, like, okay, what animes do you normally like? Like what are like some of the ones you liked? Not even maybe your favorites, but or what genres at least are you into?
Yeah.
And it's so hard
Or
when
what are you looking for too? Like
Yeah.
what are you looking for? You're looking for plot, like, art style,
Yeah, it's like
action, genre.
yeah, and that's like one of the reasons I made my anime list was because like it was so hard for me to recommend people animes without like looking at what I had watched, because there's so many different types for different people. And like I finally started rating stuff on my list for my personal reference, just so I'm like, okay, these are kind of like the S tier, the A tier, the B tier, the C tier, and then like after that, like I watched this and I don't even know why I wasted my time, but I watched them so I can say that I watched them and like say with full certainty that they were trash.
I see. What are some of your S tier ones? Do you remember?
My S tier ones, Kogias, Shinsekai Yori, which is from the New World in English.
Dude, that one was
Anohana.
a mind fuck.
Dude, that one is so underrated. Like I I almost enjoy that it's underrated because I can always recommend it, and it's generally enjoyed by whoever watches it. But one of my favorites. I love the like post-apocalyptic like genre so much. It's one of my favorites. And that had a really good like ending song. Was it Auringo, I think it was, and really pretty art. And I liked how they the like what's it called, reasoning they came behind things and like why they did things. It was just amazing anime. Highly recommend. But also depends on what kind of anime you're into.
That's true. It's definitely a mindfuck. I think about it. You know an anime is good when after it's done you still think about it.
That's
And you
true.
still think about like all the little things about it and it could still be explored, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I should rewatch it. It was so good. There were just so many little points and so many things about the characters that were just like, you really felt for them. Really, so many things. And they were just kids. Really great world building, too. But yeah, that and once again, like Psychopaths. And I guess those are like the ones off the top of my head. Oh, Sankyo no Terror, also one of my top favorites. Super
Oh,
great
that's
anime.
one that I haven't seen, but I want to see.
You have to.
Because I think it's animated by Mappa, and I think Sakurai Takahira's voice in there too.
I'm not sure about the seiyus, but yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Mappa. But highly recommend. Great soundtrack, great animation, great story.
Yeah, I literally love the soundtrack even before I've seen it. I'm pretty sure didn't Emma sing some of the songs in there?
Yeah, she did the I forget the title of it. I can see like the album cover in my head, but I can't remember the title.
I think it was like during the season. I remember that one when it came out. It was during the season where I don't remember if I was like in Japan or what it was, but I remember there were so many other series that I was like into, so this was kind of like back burner, so that's why I didn't watch this one.
I think you will definitely enjoy it. But oh my god, Eme, you know the first anime I found her through anime, but you know what the first anime it was?
What?
I think it was like
is it the Renaissance, like what is it? Is it the
It was the flower one, the Natsuyuki Rendezvous?
Yeah, Rendezvous.
Yeah. That one with like the woman, and then her husband is like a ghost, and then there's
That has to be a Josei genre, right? I'm
I
pretty
think
sure.
I would consider it Jose. Yeah,
It's definitely Josei.
yeah. But she did the Anata ni Deo wa nakereba, and it was so
Oh my, I love that song
oh, it's so
so
good.
much. It literally, like, I not only was the ending a bomb, right? And I was already feeling things from the anime, but when
Yes.
you look at the lyrics, and it's just like, you know, if I've never met you, I wouldn't know suffering, but I wouldn't also know like happiness. And
Yes.
I'm like, oh, why?
Dude, it was so good. That was like underrated anime because I don't think many people watched it, and I only watched it because I used to go through like all the animes for a season and pick off and try and watch everything, and obviously I would find good things. That was like one of the ones where I went in kind of blind, and I really enjoyed it. And then it came out with a banger song too, and that was
Banger, dude.
before she really. I think that was like one of her first songs too, if I remember right.
No, she actually did. I don't know. It was the opening or ending of number 9 or number 6.
Oh, the BL.
Yeah.
The Hornets.
The Shonen Ai one, yeah.
Hornets or horny.
And that one was super nice too. I really like that song. And there was I think she also did Natsume Yuchincho's fifth opening.
Oh, did she?
So I just don't remember which order it was that she first came out, but I think the number 6 one was one of her first.
Okay,
yeah.
I didn't even realize she sang. I watched those, but I don't remember. Well, that was the first one I recognized her voice, and her voice is very memorable. So, but damn. But have you ever seen the music video for that song?
I have not. I think I only looked up what the song means.
I found the music video like years later, and it was actually so hard to find. I don't know if it's easier to find now, but I remember like years later I tried to find it, and it was so hard to find because I remember it was like these schoolgirls who were lesbians. And that's that's so surprising for Japan, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I remember they were like in a pool and all this stuff. It was just like, it was really pretty too, but I had man, I want to try and see if I can find it again. But back then, it was really hard to find it, and I was so surprised, and I was like, why is this not more places? I mean, maybe Japan didn't like it in the end, but it exists.
Maybe that's why I never saw it. They should have suppressed it.
I was like, you know, it's those things where it's like, if you don't see it anymore, it's like, did you imagine it? Kind of like a Mandela effect thing, where it's like, did it really happen? But we all have this collective memory of it happening. But no, I think they just like tried to erase it from the internet, but it existed. I remember it. It's not me going crazy.
Send it to me after this.
Okay.
I need to see what it looks like.
Yeah. It was like...
No, I was wrong. I think one of the first anime openings she did was like the Bleach ending.
Bleach?
And it's like, I think it's called Repray, because I remember I really like that song on my playlist. And I was like, I wonder what this is from, because it sounds like an anime. I looked it up. It was Bleach. I was like, what? She did Bleach? That's wild.
I didn't know she was out that early. Now I gotta look. But she's one of my favorite artists. Like, her voice is amazing.
I love her. Did you know the reason why her voice sounds like that? It's because she had like
surgery, right?
Yeah, that's crazy. And for the longest time, you didn't even know what she looked like, because she really hid herself.
Yeah,
and only in the recent years did she ever show her face.
Which I'm glad for. That's like a lot of Japanese artists too. Like
that's a lot of manga artists too. You never know what they look like.
I
like
mean,
I'm still questioning whether or not Jujutsu Kaisen's mangaka is female or male.
I mean, granted,
and they will not. No,
I could say that for like any series in general. I feel like the artists / authors are never their face is not commonly known, anyways, because it's not a very face fronting what's the word, career, you know? Like, the most I usually saw for authors is if they had like the leaflet in their book and I saw it, but otherwise I usually didn't look it up.
That's true. But for me, it was just more like, I need to know like who is creating this. And I do highly suspect that Kaisen's mangaka is probably female.
I mean, if they have strong female characters, likely. I'm
like, strong female characters, most likely female, because it's rare. Like, even Fullmetal Alchemist, strong female character, female mangaka.
It's like, they're the only ones who know. It's frustrating, but true.
Yeah, and that's what we kind of want to see, you know, too. Yeah.
No, not kind of. That is what we want to see. That's what makes them good stories and makes them interesting. Like, I feel like the biggest issue I have with stories nowadays is when they have these like weak ass or like even just blank, they're literally blank characters that are women, and they're so boring. Like what do you do with this? It's like, oh, save me. Like, what is your personality? What do you care about? Like, what about you other than your looks do I know? Like, it's
That's
so
why
frustrating.
representation is important, because honestly it's just nice to see like, oh, they have similar interests than me. And I remember like introducing some series to some of my friends, and they're like, "Oh, I can't relate to the main character. They're female." And I'm like, "What?" But
Man.
like, we've always seen shonen, you know, and I think
Yeah.
and the human aspect, you can relate to anyone.
I
It's just like takes a little bit of empathy
yeah.
just to see it from their,
I
you
mean,
know.
I guess sadly nowadays I feel like there's a very huge lack of empathy in people, which I wish wasn't the case. I
Mhm.
want to know how to improve that, because I feel like the
Yeah.
only way I've seen people do it is like if something doesn't happen to someone, like it
Hmm.
doesn't exist, and I hate that mentality, but I don't know how to fix it or like make people see otherwise too. So I really wish
I
I knew how to.
feel it. I feel like it has to do partly with like how social media is, because I don't know if you're like this, but like I'll be scrolling through TikTok and I'm like, haha, cat video, haha, anime, you know,
Mm.
hot men, and then all of a sudden it's just like war in Ukraine, and I was just like, I don't know what to do about this feeling, and it's just so easy to just scroll away, you know,
Yeah,
like even like you donate and like you send your prayers and wishes, all of that. It's just like so like social media makes it so easy to just like scroll away. You learn this information, but you scroll away.
I think it's that, and it makes it so polarizing, and it's just such a big
Hmm.
info dump. Like, it's great because we have so much access to so much information, but at the same time, like,
Yeah.
humans weren't meant to have to put all this information in their heads at once and deal with it all at once. Like, instead of just our personal problems, now it's like every world problem is your personal problem. And like, I hate so much when people are like, if you don't care about this, like, you're a shitty person. And
Mm.
it's so dismissive to like just the human mentality of like there's only so much you can truly care about before you kind of turn into the villain because you get mad at everyone just being mad at you for like not caring. It's not that you don't
Mm.
care, it's just I don't have the capacity to give that much care. It's how you get older and realize you don't have the capacity to have like thousands of friends. You really only care about a few because
Yeah.
humans are human, they're not machines.
I think it's so difficult too, because like I know when I have the emotional space I want to, but a
Mm.
lot of times it's just so exhausting, and scrolling through these videos and just randomly seeing them, you're not able to pick and choose where
Mm.
you're putting your emotional, you know, like
Yeah,
it's just kind of sprung upon you, and whether or not you are available, you just have to take it.
that's so
So that's
true.
another thing that like I've really thought about, and over time, and especially with the, you know, pandemic and everything,
Yeah.
everything's just kind of shut down, and it's just hard
I feel
out
like
there. I think we want to make connections and we want to feel for others and we want to, but social media is really great and terrible in its own way.
I just wish there was a better way to like sort through it or like be on a platform that didn't just push it in your face for keeping you on the platform and showing you ads. Like that's what's so scary about it. Like I remember I missed MySpace because MySpace was like you didn't have ads pushed in your face. It was the drama was who was in your top 6 and then you had Zanga.
Oh my god, so funny and so true.
But yeah, and then you had like what was it, the bulletin board, and then people. Okay, that was back when people could be more open because it wasn't as many creepy people. Like I remember there were always those questionnaires, and you would just like answer questions about yourself, and people could read them. Like I love that because I loved understanding like my friends or new people and just like hearing about them or things about them, and I would learn it and I would like internalize it. Like I love that. But it's so much harder to do now and to do it while being genuine since everything's about like clout and people trying to, you know, put themselves out there, and social media is so market focused rather than like human connection focused, which I feel is what
Yeah.
it was originally created for.
Bro, and Instagram now too. I'm seeing so many people that I'm like, I don't even know these people. Why are they suggesting
Yeah,
them
like
to me?
it's because
That's another feature that I'm like, that is not what I want to see. Like, I want to see my friends on my Instagram, you know?
it's because Instagram, especially after it got bought out by Facebook, Meta, whatever, it like literally is just a marketing platform now. It like, I hate that it pushes like ads in the middle of stuff, but even more than that, I hate that it pushes random accounts that I'm not following. Like, I
Hmm.
understand that it's like, oh, we think you might like that, But I hate it because, like you said before, remember, it's like it pushes things that you're not in the mindset to see.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I'm not always ready to see these things, or I don't really want to see new things. I just want to see my friends, or I just want to see specific things because that's what I'm ready to see and that's what I came there to see. So I hate that. And like how they also like get rid of the chronological order and just keep showing things that are like more popular, more relevant at the time. I hate that. Like, just give us
Or you
chronological
can pay
order.
to have more slot up there too, you know?
Yeah.
Everything. I think that's my belief though. Anything that becomes like business, I think the initial part of social media is connecting people from afar, right? Whether
Mm,
it's email, you can send an email to your relative across the state, across the country, or,
mm,
pen pals, you know? But
mm.
now it's become such a business. The biggest thing is for them to make a profit. And to make a profit, you have to utilize people
Yeah.
and
I mean, right now, I think that's why I like Discord so much because it reminds me of like AIM, where it was really just you could message people who you added. The most you got was maybe a little profile where you would put your emo stuff and you had a little icon that you could like have your little emo icon. And that was it. You could just chat that way. Except Discord is a little better because you have servers and like communities that you can connect in if you choose to, and you can choose to
Mhm.
mute those communities. And there's like no ads pushing your face. And then there's upgrades. If you want to buy them, you can, but you don't have to. You can still get a great experience.
That's true. I never felt like, oh, I have to buy to have a good experience on Discord.
Yeah.
And I like that there's so many different tabs and usually there's always someone on the community talk so you can always talk and join.
Yeah. Yeah. So it like really helps when you're just like not feeling like I have to reach out specifically to one person. You can just kind of chill, and then if someone else wants to chill, they can chill. It's like not as much pressure. The one thing I wish they added, and I thought it would be so cool if they had like aimed it, is the nudge button. Oh my god, I missed the nudge button.
The
Dude,
nudge button? Is it kind of like the ring button in like Yahoo Messenger? I feel like I use Yahoo more.
I never used Yahoo Messenger, but I think MSN Messenger had it too. Did AIM have it? I feel like AIM had it. It was like if you did it, it would shake the other person's screen.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I think Yahoo Messenger had something like that too, but you can set like annoying little ringtones. It's just like,
Oh,
hey, hey,
yeah,
hey,
yeah.
and like it'll just be ringing and like moving on their
I
screen.
miss that. And you could disable it too if you didn't want people to do it to you. But like, I miss it
Hmm.
because like it would be so useful, especially when you like want to follow up with people, but you don't want to be like bump following up. Just wanted to make sure you didn't miss this, especially with like how many messages people get nowadays. So I miss it. I wish they brought something like that back. It would be so cool and so nostalgic.
Maybe we just gotta start moving people over to another platform. I feel like everything moved over to TikTok, and I wonder what the next one is gonna be like.
Nothing for a while, I think. Damn, so what are you excited for our next season?
Yeah, so it's mainly going to be like the Spy X Family, Chainsaw Man. I saw Mob Psycho. Third season is coming back.
Yes! Oh my god, I'm so
So,
excited.
dude, every season it just gets more and more intense. I just can't imagine it getting like what else could they do with it? It's
I
already like OP, you know?
I never thought I would like it as much as I do. Like, especially the last season with the fights, and it was like the dialogue. Oh my god, Reagan and Mob make me feel so wholesome.
Dude, in the beginning I freaking hated him. I couldn't hate him
Yes,
because
same.
it's Sakurai's voice actor.
Oh, that's not why for me. I was just like I
Oh,
started to
okay.
like him as a character, even though he's a shitter, because he was just it's
He's
just
such a
wholesome.
shithead. If it wasn't for his voice actor though, I swear to God.
Wholesome. He's like dad, but not dad. I don't know. It just makes me happy. Smile like the last scene in the last season just made me feel so wholesome and full. So yeah,
And like Bleach is coming back.
dude, I'm so glad because I read and okay, I'm still not sure. It's not a movie. They said it was a series. I read somewhere that it
It's
was
a
gonna
series.
be This says it's split into 4 core series, and I remember reading somewhere it was gonna be 60 episodes total. So I'm excited because long
Whoa.
anime.
Wow.
When's the last time we got that? I'm happy. I hope they don't mess it up because I'm excited.
I mean, it's Studio Pierrot?
I would say Kuro.
Puro, where they did Tokyo Ghoul and like Naruto
Yeah, but they
and
do
Shippuden.
Boruto, and Boruto is sad, so
Yeah, I
not
feel
in
like
a
it should
feels way,
be
like sad that I don't
okay.
even want to. I only watched it or I continue to watch it because of Naruto, but like literally nothing has
Uh-huh.
happened in over 100 episodes. Literally.
So that's exciting. I don't know. I have to go back and rewatch like all of the openings and all of the previews
Oh, the
and then
banger
decide.
songs. Oh, for the new animes.
Yeah, the new animes. Oh, what is it? The one who is it the artist that did Rumiko Takahashi, like the Inuyasha and Ranma? I
Mm.
think she's releasing the Yurusei Yatsura. Like like the girl with the greenish bluish hair and like kind of like the Oni outfit. Oni
Wait, not
bikini.
Oni, not the Oni. The it was like leopard print. That's
Yeah,
yellow.
yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah,
Lum.
yeah, 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 yeah. Lum.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that is coming out too. So I was excited to
Ooh.
see like an older series
Yeah,
like
yeah.
be animated. I wonder how that's gonna transition.
I mean, if they do anything like Fruits Basket did, hopefully good.
It's true. And yeah, the book princess thing.
The Bibliophile Princess.
Yeah.
JoJo next season.
Excited.
I'm excited. What else is there?
I know my friend is going to really like the Yamano Susume. Like they just love camping or like, wholesome girls doing wholesome things. Like
That's
here.
cute.
Yeah. I know my friend's gonna be super hyped for those series. It really reminds me of like, K-On, like that kind of
Yeah.
thing, where it's just cute girls doing cute things.
This is what I love is like when people just have, well, it goes back to my thing of like you need to find people who like the same things as you to get good
Hmm.
recommendations, but you can still find other recommendations from other people because like those are genres that I've tried out and I don't really enjoy, but it's kind of wholesome to see other people like they do really enjoy it and there's a audience for it.
That's true. And then, oh, Digikara is coming back. I don't know if you read like the manga way back then, but it's super cute. I remember like the art was like everywhere, and I remember putting it like on what is it? It's not DeviantArt. What was it before? Guy Online?
Gaia was before,
Or
no, DeviantArt was before Gaia,
oh
I
really?
think.
I remember no, actually maybe it's not even Guy Online. I don't remember which website it was where you can kind of have your own like mini website and you can put like the background and
Zanga.
like is it Zanga?
Zango, you could do that. And you
Yeah, where you can have your profile in the background and like all of these pretty layouts and
it was
colors.
like Zanga, MySpace, LiveJournal. I don't know how LiveJournal worked too much, but I know a lot of people used it. But I know for sure Zanga, you could do a lot of those things.
Mm, maybe it's one of those. I just remember I had such cute backgrounds.
And you could play the music, the autoplay music.
Yeah, the autoplay music and you scroll down and so nice.
Golden Kamuy, fourth season. Oh, excited for that one too.
Bruh.
That's like
So
about
I
the
think
whole
the
story.
season will be it's not too bad. It just seems like there's some like really good ones and then a few like new ones that we're kind of
Yeah.
excited. I had some seasons where I was like nothing to look forward to.
Yeah. I'm hoping this
Like,
gets me back into watching some stuff because I'm the same. I haven't really watched anything for a while now. I had my
I know
break.
I've only been reading manga online
Yeah.
and webtoons.
Same,
Dude,
same, same.
webtoons is getting so good that like I think that's why a lot of people are just like, oh, it's just easy. I can just finish,
Yeah.
40 episodes.
Well, and there's like more variety to read too.
That's exciting.
But yeah. I think that's all the things we're looking forward to. That's probably gonna be the end of our podcast for today. It's been a nice convo.
It's
So
always nice.
it's always
Maybe we should
nice.
start watching anime together or creating a Discord where we like watch anime
I mean, we could
together.
or review anime like the Abridged series for rewatch.
That would be funny. Yeah, so let us know if there are any anime that you're going to be looking forward to watching either in fall or winter in or next year. if there's any recommendations you have for us. Like, I think based on what we've talked about and like Iso giving recommendations of like, you know, her top tier animes. If you have any that you recommend us to watch, let us know. Um, is that all?
Thanks for listening to our podcast, and we'll see you next week. Bye!
Bye!